Paper Crafters, this is Colette. Today I want to show you a great card that you can make with these great pages that you get in most of the Kaisercraft collections. I call them the 4x3 design element pages, and they simply have 12 great little designs on them that complement their range, and they're great for card making, especially waterfall cards, and that's what I want to show you how to make today. This is from the Sail Away collection, and this is the card that I've made from it. So you can see it's a very grand, proud looking card, and it's an interactive card because when you actually pull this button down here, you actually get to see, as a cascading waterfall effect, all of those kind of little elements. Loving the anchor. And you can see at the bottom here you can actually write your message, and I've just stamped this lovely stamp which says Sail Away with me from the stamp set that complements the Sail Away collection, and that's been released this month as well. So let me show you how you can make these great cards. They've been around for as long as I've been card making, so I really don't know who originated them, but as always I've dissected them and made them really super easy so everyone can make them. So I'm going to go ahead and work with the other collection, which is the Provincial collection from Kaisercraft, and the first thing you need to do from that elements page is to take 4 of your particular elements that you want to use. So I've got 4 here. Such a beautiful design, and what I've actually done is I've put some additional stickers on from the sticker sheet for that collection, which is just beautiful. So many lovely things that you can actually use. So these little words and the butterflies I've actually used on there. The other thing I have done is I have inked up all the edges with the Kaisercraft bark ink pad, and that just really gives it a lot more definition, and you don't get to see any of that white core, which makes it look really nice. So now I've got my 4 pieces cut out, ready to go. What I also need is to create my slider mechanism, and to do that I need 2 pieces of craft cardstock. This is the craft cardstock from Kaisercraft, and you can buy these in bags of 10 or more, and it's a great economical way of buying your craft cardstock, because if you're like me you're going to use heaps of it, so it's definitely worthwhile considering that. So one of these pieces is 3 1/4 by 7 inches, the other piece is 3 1/4 by 7 1/2. So I want to take that bigger piece first of all. Now I always work backwards when I'm doing my waterfall card, so I'm going to put down first of all the image that I want to be at the bottom of my waterfall, and I'm just going to grab my Kaisercraft adhesive and I'm just going to simply pop that in place. Okay, so let's just zoom this in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to pop this right down here at the bottom so that I have got roughly the same amount of space on all 3 sides. Alright, and then as always, to make sure we have a good adhesive grip, I'm just going to burnish that. The next thing I need to do is I need to grab something to score with. You can do it with your paper trimmer. I've showed you how to do that in my previous videos, so I won't go over that again. Or you can actually use a scoreboard. So I'm going to use a scoreboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first image and I'm going to make a score line just above it. Okay, so just above that image. Now if you make your waterfall cards working backwards in this way, you can actually create them using any size squares, and very often the papers from the collections are so beautiful you could just simply cut squares from the papers in that collection, and you could make them wider, and if your square was wider you'd make your slider wider, and if it was shorter you'd follow the same mechanism, but you would just score just above it as I'm doing here. Then what you want to do is you want to score 3/4 of an inch above that last score line, and the same again. So I'm just moving this to the number 4 just to make it easy for me to kind of score. And then what I'm doing is I'm just working back 3/4 of an inch, and I'm scoring there. And I need to do that one more time. Okay, so you can see in total I have got 1, 2, 3, 4 score lines, all of them 3/4 of an inch apart. Okay, so that was super easy to do. The next thing that I'm going to do now is pop the scoreboard away, and I am going to fold backwards each of those folds, burnishing as I go. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they're all nicely burnished and folding backwards. Then what I'm going to do is to take my next element that I want at the bottom and adhere that. So again, using this runner, it's nice and strong, this runner. You don't want to go right to the edge because our element doesn't go to the edge, so you just want to go inside the edge. Take our next one, making sure it's the right way around, and we want to go just below that score line, and we want to make sure that we're lining it up perfectly with the ones below. So you can see the lines are nice and straight as you go down. Pop that down and again burnish it so it's a nice strong bond. We're going to take the next one, apply our adhesive, and exactly the same, popping that just underneath that score line, making sure we have a good bond. And then we're going to take our very last one and exactly the same again. I'm going to pop that down just below that score line and making sure that it all runs nice and straight down my slider mechanism. So that's all good, that works nice. So you can see this little sticker here, it's just kind of popping out a little bit, so I don't like that. So I'm just going to nip this up and take this little sticker off gently and just position it a fraction higher. So I could put this lower. Actually, I think I will do it. It looks nice lower. I'm going to pop that a little bit lower there. It says grateful. This is this range, Provincial, is so full of friendship and gratitude. It's such a lovely range, and I do particularly want to use this to send to a friend who's been really kind to me in very many ways. The other thing I'm not liking actually is this sticker here, so I'm going to move that up again as well. So I'm going to just pop this sticker off very gently. Now I did burnish this down, so I have to be super gentle with it. And I still like that sticker, so I'm just going to put it a little bit higher underneath this butterfly here. So I'll be much happier with how that looks there. So just get that into place, just get rid of the rest of that sticker adhesion there. Okay, so that's my my waterfall slider, the front of it anyhow, all ready to go. Now the next thing we need to do is to make the back part, and the back part is the other piece of paper that we cut, and that was, if you remember, 3 1/4 inches by 7. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to put my adhesion on this here small piece. My Kaiser glue runner just ran out and I don't have a refill, so I've had to switch over to another adhesive roller. So I'm going to put my adhesive on the back of this one here, and I'm going to sit this behind up to the just below the score line there, and I'm going to fold this back and again burnishing that. So that there is my slider mechanism completed and ready to now be fixed onto its mat. Okay, so that's my slider mechanism met. What I now need to do is to create my mat, and I'm choosing some paper. This is the Chase from the Provincial collection paper, which is really pretty, and I know it's going to go lovely because it's all from the same collection. And I've cut this so it's 7 7/8 of an inch by 4 1/4. So it just needs to be bigger all around than your slider mechanism. And now we need to actually attach this to this piece of paper. And what I like to use to attach them are the little fancy edges that you get at the bottom of the paper. And this is again from that chase paper, and I'm going to use this to actually hold everything into place, and this is called the bar. So let's just do that. So I've got my paper. What we need to do is we need to take our slider, we're going to open it up, and on the back of this front bit here I need to put some adhesive. And I'm going to stick down my bar so the wrong side is facing up. And again, just going to burnish that so we get a nice strong fold. Alright, so you can see that this bar is on the back of the front of the slider mechanism. Alright, so now I need to go ahead and attach that nice and firmly because it's going to be tugged and pulled, and I'm going to use some brads. You could use eyelets also. And I like to use a felt pad when I'm putting in place my brads. I find it doesn't distress the paper and it gives you just a neater look. So I'm going to place this, so I've got roughly the same amount on these sides here. So just zooming this in a little bit. So all I'm going to use to put my brads in is I'm using this very useful little tool from Kaisercraft. It's actually, I call it the die extraction tool. It's great for getting all the dies out and for poking your bits and pieces out of your dies. But I love to use this just to set my brad. So that's now in position. I'm happy how that looks. So either side, just a little tip here as well. You can always see whether you're straight by looking at your design and just making sure that your design is all as it should be, just following elements, and that will give you an idea of whether it's straight or not. So just following that design through, I'm just going to move that over. I'm now going to make a hole in the center of each side of the bar. Okay, and then I'm going to take a brad and I'm just going to simply pop that through. And the same on the other side. Grab the brad and just pop that through the hole. I've finished with the felt pad now, so I can turn this over. I'm going to open up those brads like that. I'm going to flip this over now, and I just always like to make sure my brads are sitting nice and flat. So now that I've done that, I can go ahead and cut this particular section here. Okay, so just grabbing some scissors, cutting that to size, cutting that to size. So what I now have is I have my slider mechanism, my mat and my bar all joined together. So this mechanism will work now if I actually take this bottom section and just pull this through. So let's have a little look. Oh, very pretty. Yep, that's looking great. So happy with how that's going. Alright, so haven't quite finished yet. We now need to put this onto a card, and that's going to give it much more stability. And for this I've got a piece of cardstock again, which is again just slightly bigger than the actual mat itself. So if you make it, I don't know, say 4.5 inches by 8 1/8 inch, that will give you a nice size, but you can actually measure that yourself. So I'm just going to cut this back because it's a little bit long. So I'm going to pencil mark this, so I want it to be about that long, I think would be nice. And let me see, I'll get the measurements of this for you in just 1 second. Yeah. So it's going to be 8 1/8 of an inch long. And it's going to be 4 1/4 inches wide. So 8 1/8 inch long and 4 1/4 inches wide. And I'm going to attach that to this here. And I'm just going to use my glue runner again. Again, you can use double-sided tape if you want to. So just attaching that. Okay, and oops, that's not very good, is it? I've got a bit too much on one side. That's what happens when you keep looking up at the video screen just to make sure you're in shot. So that's a bit better. Yep, happy with that. And again, just burnishing on the back. Now, with the Sail Away card, I actually made that into a card, which you can do, of course, if you want to, and then you can go ahead and put a piece of white card in here with some sentiments, writing a note, a letter, or whatever you want to do. But what I'm going to do with this one is just show you another way, and that is to make this into a just a straightforward card here, because I'm going to actually put this down here as my kind of element. So what I could do in here is to stamp up my message or my sentiment, so I don't want to have more of an inside section to do that with. So all you need to do is to make something to make it stand up with, and I'm just going to use this leftover piece that I had earlier on, and I'm just going to actually the size is fine, you don't need to change the size. All you want to do is to give a little bit of a score line. I popped my scoring board away, so I'll just score it on this. So I'm going to score it at 1 inch, so the 1 inch mark here, and I'm just going to use my ball tool. I haven't got my ball tool, which is what I'd normally use, so I'm just going to go down with this. And you can see that that's scored fine, and then I'm just going to fold that over and then burnish that into a nice strong fold. What you're then going to do is you're going to run some adhesion along this here, and you're just going to pop that on the back of the card, sitting it roughly in line at the bottom. Okay, and again burnishing that in place. So what we've got is we've got just a little mini holder so that my card can proudly stand up. Alright, now just to do the little pull element, you could do a little disc from, or you could print out one of the label dies from Kaiser and just put the word pull there if you want to. I never seem to worry about that. What we're going to do here is to use one of the little elements from the collectibles. This is such a nice one, and that's very appropriate for what I want. It's about friendship, and I thank you for that. Now this is one of the bits, and if you can see there's little notches on this, and the way that I get rid of those is I just lick it. I just wet my finger with my tongue, and I just run that notches, and there all those notches are gone. And again, there is a bit of a white core there, so I just want to get rid of that, so I'm just going around with that bark ink pad just to get rid of all of that. And then I'm going to stick this onto the bottom of my slider, and that's going to act as my pulley, so to speak. So just zooming that in. So I'm going to pop this just down here, just like that. Okay, again just burnishing that in place. So that's my finished card there, and let's just see it all in operation. Okay, so I've got my card, and this is how the little waterfall works. And of course in here I'm going to have my lovely thank you words for this special friend of mine. So this is the Provincial collection from Kaiser Craft. It's just beautiful, very, very pretty, and I love the thankful friendship themes that carry through in this collection. So those are my waterfall cards, nice and easy to make, a little bit more detailed than a lot of cards, but they will certainly give a bit of a wow factor when they're actually handed out. Look at the credits for a list of the items I've used on these, or you can check out the Kaiser Craft blog where they're actually written down. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me. Until next time, my name's Colette. Bye.